Hello, good evening, welcome everybody. How's everyone doing? I am going to start tonight by looking at stock indexes. Oops, and we're going to kill the echo. There we go. We're going to start tonight by looking at stock indexes, mainly because they're really correlated with Bitcoin. The Nasdaq particularly is correlated with Bitcoin, and we've seen quite a bullish move today. If we've moved back above our daily 20 and 50 moving average, we were in sideways consolidation. It wasn't quite a double bottom here at the lows in the Nasdaq, but it was pretty close, and we've moved above this pivot level in the middle, so we could call it a sideways range if you like. And we've moved above it, so everything is looking great, right? Except that I have this little fear, I have this little fear, and let me explain to you what it is. Normally, so let's get a pen out. Normally, in a bullish market or in a trending market, you'll see a 5-wave move, and corrections are 3 waves. And so any way I measure this, I find it really hard to find this 3 waves, except maybe, I suppose, if this was here and then, and this is a funky AB, this was a funky ABC here in the middle for a B leg, and this was a C leg, then maybe this correction is over. If I look at it more likely though, like this, so this is the first swing lower A, and then we've gone ABC. We didn't quite reach the 61.8 level, so I feel like it's quite hard, unless you do something really kind of funky, it's quite hard to say that the correction is likely over in the Nasdaq. And I feel like it's more likely that we've seen an A, we're doing some funky B, and then we've got another leg lower to come. But I have to say, at what point will I be wrong? In a trend, we make higher lows, and in a downtrend, we make lower highs and lower lows. I think if we take out these highs here, then we've reversed the trend. I think if we go more than 50%, we can probably say, which is a very common in a correction, then we can say, we've probably reversed the trend. So when we put our fibs on, this looks a little bit more interesting here in the Nasdaq because we've stopped at this 38.2 level. That's also a very common correction level. And if we go and we take out these previous highs, that'll be the 50%. So that kind of gives us 2 levels to watch this week then. And then I think we will try a bit of a pullback, and it might turn into something. So we said what a normal correction would look like. It's an ABC. Sometimes though they go inside of themselves, so it looks like that. Sometimes they're running corrections. So instead of being ABC like this, and you carry on higher from your uptrend, sometimes you have an uptrend, you make a low, then you make a slightly higher like this, and then you carry on. And then sometimes they're like running corrections, that's your ABC, and then you carry on. So there's a whole variety, especially I would say the B leg in the correction, I find the very hardest to read. So potentially it's not clear whether we're not going to be at resistance and on a, in a bigger correction yet. So far though, so good. However, let's go down a time frame and look at this on a 4-hour, and we can see that instead of this actually being a double bottom, this was actually a slightly lower high. And we know this is a big 38.2 fib level, so potentially resistance. But if I move this down to this most recent swing lower, you can see that our first swing off the low went to the 61.8, and this second swing has terminated at the 786. That's very interesting for harmonic traders, because it's not a grade A. Sorry, I've just got to take this away from my puppy before the noise drives me nuts. There we go. This is a bearish Gartley pattern. Now, if you're going to reverse at a 786 fib level here, then your confirmation that you've reversed is back below the 61.8. So for now, we're a long way from that, aren't we? We're just consolidating under this 786 fib level. It's not a reversal yet. As usual, we've got a late night rally, and you know, we're all set up just to carry on higher. No big deal. It's normal though, after a big up day like today, go back to the daily, the most normal thing after a big up day like today is to either carry on higher tomorrow or a small inside bar. The one thing I would say about this move tonight is, and because it's a Monday, and the same if we look at the S&P as well, we've got the same pattern. If we look at the daily, when you have a big move on a Monday, or that move is more likely to be the high or the low for the rest of the week. So if we look at, for example, the move we made lower, this was this big bullish hammer candle was last Monday. We went all the way down to the low, found buyers, and went all the way up again. So Mondays, early in the week, is more likely to be the high or the low for the week. So potentially, after, if we look at the weekly candle, after a really strong up week, potentially we could end up with a pullback week. We've had a really huge move already today. When you do that on a Monday, sometimes it can be a little bit of that'll be it for the week then, and then for the rest of the week you just kind of go sideways and back and fill, which is what we did last week when we made the low. So potentially some resistance here, really good signs, but potentially some resistance here. If this is going to turn into a bearish reversal in the Nasdaq, then we're going to drop back below this level we talked about, 11,217 I think it was. So yeah, 11,2. Let me put it on. Let me move it back. I've forgotten the fib level already. There we go. 11,215. So back below 11,215. If we drop from the 786 under this, we would be at least going back to this 38.2 fib. That would be the first target. That's around here. 11,008. And then beyond that, new lows. From a Gartley pattern in a trend like this, you would normally expect new lows. So that's where we are with stock indexes. And so at the moment, really nice bullish pressure on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is lagging a bit. I actually think that the bigger pressure on Bitcoin is the US dollar, and sometimes it trades like a currency. And the reason that Bitcoin is lagging is because we've had a really spectacular bounce in the US dollar off the lows. So the key question is this move in the US dollar going to continue? Let's take a look at where we are, and I'm going to tidy up my dollar index chart here. Okay, because this is a monthly chart, and we can say quite honestly, since 2015, you know, we've been, well, at least for the last 6 months, until we saw this drop in the dollar post-COVID when they printed all that money, we had been going sideways for more than a year in the US dollar. And so we had this nasty drop, they printed all the money, and now we are bouncing back. Where are we likely to go from here? I'm going to put fib retrace levels on this high to low swing that we're inside of, because if we take a look at this, we can apply some little fib rules here, because we reversed at an 886 fib level. When you do that, your first target is back to the 50% in the middle, which is what we did here, and then your second target is the 236 fib. And then what you tend to do is go back to the middle 50% again. It's a bit like that big 61.8 golden ratio zone. You tend to go back to the middle and find balance. And if we do that here on the monthly, that would be back to the monthly 50 moving average. And we can say that this 50% level is a bit of a pivot level. I'm sorry, Puppy's decided to find a rock now. Here we go. Apple. Okay, you can have an apple. So that's where we are. And this, if we continue back to this 96 in the dollar index, that's going to be a bit of a drag on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, like everything else, is priced in US dollars. So let's see where we are on the daily. Because we've been riffing off these fib levels, I would expect it, you know, bullish cross of these daily moving averages. I would expect on a pullback to find support and this to carry on higher in the dollar index for now. The one thing that might put a dampener on that is if this was, remember when you have corrections, if you get equal measured moves, then equal measured moves quite often are a sign that this is a correction. This is not, we're not going to keep going higher from here. So potentially we could reverse here in the US dollar. This was just a little false break above this fib level. And how would we know? Well, I think if we drop back below these highs and 93.93, that's my level. So a daily close back below 93.93 in the dollar index would be a bearish reversal. Otherwise, I'm looking for this to find support and carry on higher. So what does that mean for the euro dollar? Well, for me in the euro dollar, somebody asked me to look at the euro dollar tonight. I've put fib retrace levels on this big swing from the March 2020 low. I see a really nice rally up from here and a correction. For me, dropping under this 236 fib, the first fib retrace level the way we did, and then finding from resistance from it is bearish. It points to more downside unless we can get back above that level at 116.86. So we've been consolidating sideways underneath it. So we can say, you know, we're probably quite bullish and on our way back up again if we can get above this 1.1686 level. Just like in the dollar index, remember the euro is 57, I think, % of the dollar index, so it's quite a big factor. Is this an equal measured move here? Yeah, potentially it is. And when we apply the same rule about that 61.8 level here, we can say actually, you know, our confirmation that we've gone higher is 1.117.4. So I feel like we've got a sideways range here in the euro. These are the parameters. So we're going to be bears if we continue below 1.164, and we've broken the bullish symmetry. And if I put it like that, probably should measure it like this because of this correction like this, ABC. 1.1613. So below that, this double bottom that we've just made, if we continue lower, down we go. 1.1486 would be next, and these highs, that would be the 38.2 fib here as well. So lots of support. That's the next step down, if you like. But if we get above 1.1712, that's a bullish reversal. And so 3-4 days are sideways, and those are our parameters. You can see this 236 fib on short time frame, how this double top here, this is definitely resistance, but for me the real confirmation that we're going higher is that little bit higher at that 1.17 level. So I'm going to say let's test this resistance zone, and if we get above it, there's our bullish reversal, and the opposite of what we're seeing in the dollar index, and that would then point dollar weakness, and that would help Bitcoin higher. So that's where we are in those markets, and I'm going to leave them now. So what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, let's go big picture. Zoom out a little bit to our weekly chart. See what we've going on, because we've got pretty good support here on the weekly chart from this weekly 20 moving average, which I haven't got a very long chart. You can see it better on a Bitstamp chart. This weekly 20 moving average is pretty nice support. It's pretty nice trend support, and on our weekly we're in a pretty nice uptrend. The problem when I look at this is, well, it's not a problem, but most corrections are 3 waves, and I want to be sure that this isn't just an A leg in a bigger correction, especially because, again, when you reverse at a 786 fib, which it looks like we're doing here, if you break the 61.8, then your target is all the way down here at the 38.2. So weekly 20 moving average, big deal fib support. This 10,000 level is a big deal for all sorts of reasons. Weekly moving averages, fib levels, support and resistance. Look how many times this has been support and resistance. So we have to say that we're a little bit bullish as long as we're above 10,000. But are we setting up to retest it? You know, whenever you made a correction, so you're in a big uptrend, and you make a correction, you think it's 3 waves back. The thing that I'm always looking for is, how does this unfold? Because if this unfolds really, you know, with the third wave being really strong, ripping faces off, then you can go, oh yeah, it's probably quite likely we've resumed the uptrend. But if it's not, if it's choppy, if it's overlapping, if it struggles, likely resistance levels, which, you know, I'm not sure that we've seen enough yet, but then it says to me it's probably not. It's probably an ABC and we haven't finished. So we talked about different corrections. Normally they, you know, not normally, but a very common one is when they're equal. So you have an uptrend and the two swings in a correction are equal. These two legs are equal. Another very common version is where the second swing, this one, is 61.8 of the first swing. That's where the C leg is 61.8 of A. And I have a feeling, so here we've been in a downtrend and we're looking at this bounce. I have a feeling that that's what we're looking at here in Bitcoin. So if I measure the first leg and then I project from here, you can see that this, where we've stopped, is at 61.8 in terms of distance of our first swing here. So potentially this is not a place that we really want to reverse at. So we need to make sure that we're going to hold some support if we're going to keep going higher, don't we? So the first thing I would say is, let's look for a 236 fib. As long as we stay above that, we can be pretty happy that we are going to keep going higher. And if we look here, that would be 10,769. So if I'm long, if we go back and close below 10,769, I will probably lighten up, sell some, because I think we're going to see a bigger correction. If we don't, if we just come back to this level, find support and this 4-hour 200 moving average and turn up again, or the, you know, daily 20 moving average, happy days, will continue higher. And then the next place that we don't really want to stop would be, you know, the equal measured move up here, which would be 11,500. So we don't want to stop where we are now. We don't really want to stop at 11,500, because that would suggest that this rally, rather than being a new uptrend, would be a equal measured move correction. So for now, I'm kind of cautiously saying we're doing okay, but these are tricky levels. And we could still see, look, if we look down here, normally when you get a bearish cross of your daily moving averages, you're looking to come back to the 200 moving average. When you reverse at the 786, as again, you're looking down here. So we could, the ideal scenario really for Bitcoin would be we go sideways and we're holding above, you know, this 61.8 level, and the 200 moving average catches up, happy days, and off we go. But if we don't, if we break down, then I think we're opening up more downside, and it's really going to be, I think it's really going to depend on what stocks do and the dollar, and they're all at like these decision points. So more important will be the dollar. If we see continued dollar weakness, we should see Bitcoin rally. Now, normally in like a situation like this, you would draw, if you'd say, well, if we were going to break out, we would draw a trend line like this. And third touches are very often false breakouts. So when you will come up, you'll touch it, pull back, and then you'll wait, and then hopefully again, but that's what I'd be looking for. So trend line traders, that's what they would be looking for. So much uncertainty. You know, the next 2 months I think are going to be very tricky, particularly with the elections, and we could see some really nasty moves in one way or another, up or down, in stocks and the dollar, and that is, and really Bitcoin is not the driving force. You know, those are the driving forces, and we'll have to see how we do. So let's see. Just checking my questions. Do I think fat is a cup and handle? We'll take a look. You're stuck in uni, we'll take a look at that. Okay. So, important, potentially a little bit of a deflection point. And if we look at what happened last week, let's put our weekly candles on. So last week, Monday, this was this big red down day. You know, it's very common for us to bounce, to have a big move. If we have a big move on a Monday, for that to be the high or the low for the week. I'm just saying, you know, it wouldn't look too... and when you think about it, look, our daily moving averages, the 50, the 20, are flat. So that means we have no trend. So we're trying to read the tea leaves and decide which direction in a market that has no trend. We really need a breakout like we did here. You know, when we did this in May and June, we went sideways and sideways forever. It felt like at the time, and it was locked down, and you know, the markets couldn't have been worse, really, could they? And then we had our breakout and we got our really big move. So we just have to be ready and waiting. So I think if we go beyond that equal measured move level and we get beyond 11,500, we're definitely on the way back up again in Bitcoin. But until then, and then we're looking for new highs, you know, we're on our way. So let's talk about ETH, because we've got similar potential resistance here in ETH. I'm going to switch to a different chart here. Let's try this one. Okay. So here we go in ETH. What looks like a pretty nice double bottom here off the lows, doesn't it? But in ETH, you know, we're really struggling here at this daily 20 moving average. If I measure from this high to low, I just feel like we might see a setback. Just like Bitcoin, we're at a level where not only have we got this daily 20 moving average resistance, and we've got this bearish cross in it, but we've got this 61.8 level. So this rally is 61.8 of this first rally. So if this is just an A and then a B, a nasty B, we could very easily drop lower from here, like, and it would be quite a normal correction. So first off, we need to push beyond this level, which is 366, and then the second level where we may have a little bit of trouble is 397, which is really 400. ETH really loves round numbers, so 400 would be the next target. If we can close above 363, sorry, 363 is the level. If we close above 363 on a daily, the next target would be 400, and that's where we would be equal measured move in this one. And then if we go beyond that, we're in a new upstring. But when I look at this, this is more, for me, it's more obvious than in Bitcoin. This really doesn't look like we made a big ABC correction here, does it? On this nasty drop. When we look under the hood, it just doesn't. So I feel like this is A and we're in a B leg. And when, you know, we said before, if we're going to be starting a new uptrend, you want to see it kind of new, you know, impulsive moves. And this clearly is not yet new impulsive moves. It may be that we're slow starting. Once we get beyond these resistance levels, we can really get a move on. But for now, a little bit tricky. So what does that mean for us? Well, if you're long like me, then fine, trail it up, but use stops or be, you know, have a plan if it all reverses. That's all I'm going to say. Have a plan. Okay, so that's where we are with ETH. Let's carry on and look at some requests. So we've looked at stock indexes, the US dollar and the euro dollar. Let's look at ADA, because ADA, we'll look at ADA Bitcoin first. And we're going to start on a weekly chart. Here we go. Now, this was a pretty nice move. These fibs aren't working though, so I'm just going to take that off for a second and put them on the other way. This was a lovely bounce. We get on our weekly, we've got a bullish cross of our weekly moving averages. We've pulled back into them to find support and found support. Beautiful bullish reversal week last week. This is what was, this is a bullish engulfing candle. And today we're trying to get back above this weekly 20 moving average, which is a bit of resistance. So a little bit of resistance, and it's a tough cookie. We're not above it yet, and we've found some sellers today. So let's see, in fact, if the fibs like this from this most recent swing give us a bit more clue what's going on here in ADA. So if we say that you reverse at a 786, you go to the 38.2 or the 236, this is fair, but then look, this 38.2 is now becoming resistance going the other way. So that's a little bit annoying. Let's try now and look at this. See where we are. We're hanging around this 236 fib level. Now, when we look at the weekly in ADA Bitcoin last week, we couldn't close above this 236 fib level. We're having a little bit of a recce party above it today, but if we don't close above it next week either, we haven't really reversed the trend. And the problem is that when you get stuck in between the moving averages, as we are here, sometimes you can go back and forth for a little bit. So let's see how we're doing. Again, on the daily, we're stuck in between these moving averages. We could quite easily from here pull back and retest this 20, if not the 200, unless we get above this 50 moving average. So a little bit of danger level here, if you like. Let's count those swings and see what kind of a, because again, you kind of don't want to see one of those ABC patterns. I don't think it is, but it's not. Yeah, you know, in terms of fib levels, we should be quite bullish ADA. In terms of moving averages, we've rallied into moving averages that are the wrong way around. And so normally we need to have a little bit of a pullback and to push them the right way around. If we can't get above it, we'll pull down, and the next time we go, they will have crossed over and everything will be good again. So yeah, I'm a little bit, if we break back under 941 in ADA Bitcoin, I would look back to these lows at maybe 868 or the 20 moving average, and we'll see a bigger correction. If we can hold above 941 in ADA Bitcoin, happy days, and we should see another swing higher. And then we're looking at these highs in the 38.2 fib at 1,065. So 941 will be key. Back below 941, and we're looking at a bigger correction. If we look at ADA US dollars, let's see if we've got a similar thing going on. Yes, we have. We're in no man's land in between these moving averages, which are the wrong way round. In this one, it's this 38.2 fib, but let's do it this way because I want to. Yeah, so we've paused at this 38.2 fib, looking at a little bit of a pullback. We're only going to be bears again if we go back underneath this 20, but that's quite a long way back, isn't it? So this time, let's do the 236 fib going this way. And so if we get underneath this, we're looking at a bigger correction. And we'll put the numbers on the right. So 9933. As long as we stay above that, we're still technically in a sort of uptrend. I think much below that, and we're going to look for 9477 support. So let's look at ETH Bitcoin and say, do we really want to be in ETH, or do we really just want to be in Bitcoin? Because in ETH Bitcoin, we've had this correction. We've had this lovely big uptrend here. I think we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're looking for a 3-wave correction. What we really want to know is this 3-wave correction over, and is ADA Bitcoin about to turn up again? For me, it hasn't done quite enough. It's not quite above these moving averages, or they're not the right way round. But potentially we have. You know, this swing is 61.8 of this first swing, and we could turn higher from here. However, again, daily moving average is the wrong way around, and when you see that, very often you retest the lows. So if we retest the lows here, like this, and if they don't hold, we're going to do another step down, and we're going to come down to these highs in the 200 moving average. So I would say we have, although we've had a couple of days now, or if you wait a week or so of ADA creeping back higher, unless we break this, and you can see support and it's not just the 20 moving average, it's support and resistance here as well. Unless we break above that, this is just a bounce, retest, and a downtrend, and we've got further to fall. Luca says, new testnet on the 29th in ETH. Oh, so tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Good, let's see. Let's see if we can break out. If we can break above, you know, this 20 moving average, then we'll really get some traction and go higher. It just feels like, it looks like to me like, yeah, it's not ready. Let's look lower time frame here. See, this bounce all looks correct. Look, this is a trend move. Look, so when you drop, you consolidate, you drop, you consolidate, you drop. But each one of these swings doesn't go back into the previous swing. So this rally doesn't go back into this low, right? But when we've been trying to get it here off the lows, everything overlaps into the next one. We bleed back into the next swing. And so for me, that doesn't look yet like we're ready to go. And this now looks like a double top with a swing failure pattern here in ETH Bitcoin. And so that's a, you know, any false breakout like this is a bearish reversal. Now, this doesn't mean that we are going to go down. It means that we've stopped going up. And so here's the bottom of our range. So we're going to go sideways for a bit. And this is what I mean, recognizing that we're going sideways. So we've stopped going up. We're going to go sideways. Time to tighten up on your risk. Maybe take some off, go back to cash or whatever, and then wait and see. We'll come back. If this is our first leg, second leg, we'll come back and retest these lows if they break. If they don't, we carry on, happy days. But if they break, clearly, you know, this was just a correction. This was a rising wedge. We've broken it and we're going down again. Okay? So that's where we are with ETH Bitcoin. Double top today. Probably, you know, Bitcoin might be, you know, Bitcoin does tend to outperform when we go down. So on rallies, when everything in crypto is going up, Bitcoin tends to underperform and the alts do better. When stuff is going down, everything's going down, then Sniper One says Bitcoin looks like a very long fourth wave. I agree, it does, doesn't it? Very long. I can't wait for it to be over. But when everything goes down, Bitcoin tends to go down a little bit less. So that's how I see that. Okay, so let's look at some more. Wing. Somebody asked for wing. Let's see. No, I'm not sure I've got that one. This is a little bit embarrassing, but we'll find it. Dana will say ADA looks a bit better now. Yeah, ADA does. ADA is starting to look better. You know, a lot of them are on the verge of, or they're at places where, you know, they really could turn things around. Everything could break higher. So let's take a look at wings. Wing Bitcoin. I think this is the one you mean. This is a new coin. So here we go. Another one back testing the lows. I hate these because there's always so little data. So one thing we can say though, as you know, I like moving averages. And here on the 4 hour, this 4 hour 20 moving average has done a very good job of each time holding us down, each time we rally back to it. If we look on an hourly, we've got similar things with this hourly 50. You know, we're still with these moving averages in a downtrend, and this sideways consolidation, you know, we have a drop, we go sideways, we have a drop, we go sideways. It may be that this is hell-bent on retesting the lows, and we'll see if the buyers come back in there, because I think I've run out of fib retrace levels for this one. Even if I put in that 942, yeah, we're underneath it. So I'm afraid we're still in a downtrend unless we do something to reverse it, and potentially we're looking at retesting that 1000 level, which was the low on the launch. What would tell us that we've flipped the trend here? Well, you know, in traditional technical analysis, you remember lower highs, lower lows. So if we took out this high, then we'd be going up. That's quite a long way away, isn't it? I would say if we look at these swings here, so put fibs on. So each time we've bounced, we haven't bounced very well, have we? But we could say that each time this kind of 236.38.2 is a resistance. Here we couldn't get above the 236 fib. If we go down here, then let's just take this swing. Short term, okay, just this is the last hourly swing. If we get above this 236 fib level here, and this 20 moving average, we should look next for a 50% retrace, which would put us back up here. And that would put us, if we go beyond that 50%, then you can say, well, yeah, you know, now for the first time, potentially, we're looking at turning this around. And things could be changing. And then you would want to see, not only would you want to go beyond that moving average, but then the next thing you would see, you want to see it support and another leg higher. And then that's when you can say, okay, I'm going to buy, rather than trying to guess which one is going to, is this the level where we're going to turn it around from, or whatever. Let the market tell you, let it get all the way up there, and let somebody else doing the hard work buying it, and then you buy the pullback. That would be a better one. Very often, if you overshoot a level, if the market goes too far, the most common reversal pattern you'll see after a really nasty one like this is some kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern. If we saw that here, that would be very cool, that we could say that this is a support, but these highs or something like this. So that if we came up like this and then we pulled back to these lows like this, then you know next time, then you've got a breakout like that. So you can be patient in Wink, but for me it's not, I haven't got any, apart from, you know, we're going sideways, I have no reason to think that this is going to go up from here yet, I'm afraid, in Wink. Sorry. If I'm looking at the wrong one, or you want me to look at Wink dollar, let me just see what was requested, because Wing, yeah, Wing Bitcoin. That's what we looked at. Sorry, James, I don't think it's quite there yet, so let's see. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is OMG, which had a lot of potential. OMG, didn't it? Got quite exciting for a little bit. Let's see where we are now. All the ones you're asking for, Nikita, so Lend, Sand, yeah, I will try and check them. I will do as many as I can tonight. Okay. So let's start with a weekly chart of OMG and see where we are big picture, because we've had a huge move. This is a lovely chart. Off the weekly bullish cross of our weekly moving averages, a lovely pullback to them to find support, and we have bounced. It's not quite perfect, 786 fib. If we take this swing, we didn't get to the 886, so I'm gonna still call it a 78. Yeah, no, we didn't. Happy days. So we're back above this 61.8 level. For me in my little fib rules, that means that we are going to at least this 38.2, and that this 61.8 should become support and resistance. So 3603. So let's take a look at this. First off, we do need a daily close above this level to help us. And then with these moving out, with these daily moving averages, if we're going to keep going higher, we should not go back below this daily 50. So we can see what kind of a pattern we might get here. This is clearly these highs here. This is what's going to reverse our trend, getting above this high. So what we could see is some back and fill. Look how this is a sticky price level and how we went back and forward here. Well, markets remember sticky price levels. If we did something like that, that would be a lovely inverted head and shoulders pattern, wouldn't it? But the key thing is these prior lows in this daily 50, we can't go back below it, 3,367. So if you're looking for where your pullback is going to be because you didn't get any OMG Bitcoin today, that would be where I'd be looking. So for now, we don't want it to start pulling back now. We need a nice strong bullish close above this 3,600 level if we can. And then that's where I'd be looking, back towards these lows in this 20 moving average. 3,380 around there. That would be a pretty good place to look for. And then we're going to be looking for, I will say, be patient. Let me put my Heiken Ashi on. Because potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've got 5 waves up. If this was our wave 1, and this was our wave 2, and this is a wave 3, so we're going to do a wave 4. I just want to say, look how long this wave 2 took. So even if we say this is wave 1, 2, 3, this wave 2 took quite a long time, a day and a half. So for this pullback, we could see exactly the same, a day and a half before we launch higher again. But that's what I would be looking for in OMG. I think it looks really good. So, but buy pullbacks, and 3,600 would be a good first level. But if we drop below that, 3,370, 3,380 would be my ideal place to buy it. Okay. And then where are we going to go with targets? Well, 5,397. So basically 5,400. That's based on the fib things. 61.8, 38.2. So that would be our first target. Second target would be 6,500, and then hopefully new highs and a bigger turnaround for this one. So it's a bit of a level through the middle here, isn't there? Watch out for this 50% level. They're always nasty pivot levels. This 50% level, 4,500. That might cause a bit of a wobble. That would be the next wobble level that I would be looking for. But definitely exactly the reaction we wanted to see in OMG. Okay, next one we look at is Ripple. Is Ripple getting off again? I'm going to go to the, we're looking at Ripple dollar. I'll tidy up our chart. Okay, because if you're just going to look at your weekly chart, we've got this lovely bullish cross of our weekly moving averages. We rallied above them. So what you want to see is to find support and then carry on higher, because our weekly reversal level is up here, isn't it? So we're doing all the right things and we're finding support in all the right places, I think, in Ripple. That what's making me nervous is if I measure from here to here, it's not perfect ABC correction. It's this 1272 of this first leg, and we haven't quite made a new high yet. And if I bring this down actually like this, and we look at closing prices, so we put our support and resistance on closing prices, you can see that this actually is a bit of tough level, this low, high, high, high here, 0.3039. So that's what we've got to beat. But a nice rally here, above 3039, a weekly close, and I would say that we were on our way higher. So all the right moves, finding support in all the right places at the moment, but we've got a bit of work to do, and these weekly moving averages are flat. Flat moving averages means no trend. You really kind of need a breakout. So there's nothing doing. It hasn't been for a month. If we look at the daily, we can see where we're at. Still stuck, aren't we? Now, I think we've got 5 waves down, so we should be done, but you never know that you might not need one more. Look how important this 200 moving averages as support and resistance. So if we retested the lows here, because our moving averages are set bearish, the 20 is below the 50, so unless we can get back above them, really we should be on our way back to the 200 moving average. So I would not be surprised when you see the moving averages this way round, unless you can get above these highs here, we are in danger of retesting the lows and making a bigger bottom. And you know, Ripple likes to do that. Here we made a high, we went all the way back, retested the high with a slightly marginal higher high. We did that on the low here. If we look, we made a low, then we retested it, slightly lower low, and then we reversed. Ripple likes to do that. So I would not be surprised at all here if we retested the low, made a slightly lower low, tagged that 200 moving average and took off again. So we need to be careful again that we're not looking at a bearish reversal coming up here. Clearly, we've got a little bit of a swing failure pattern. We've made a new high, but we haven't been able to sustain a new high. It's looking a little bit double toppy, isn't it? So we've got a sideways range going on. We'll see which way this sideways range breaks out. If we don't break out higher and we instead break down, watch for a retest of the lows. So I'm pretty neutral, Ripple, dollar, but if we get below 0.238, watch for a retest of the lows. I think Ripple Bitcoin, Ripple isn't one of those, all of these alts are the same really. They all, when we're going up, they all outperform Bitcoin. When we're going down, they don't. So for me, this is a really nice declining wedge, you know, and when we break out of this, we're going to have a really nice long trade. But until we do, we're still going down. So there's nothing much we can do except ride it. So here, declining wedge. I'm going to stick it like that. We're underneath all of the daily moving averages in Ripple Bitcoin, so we are definitely underperforming. I would, you know, you can put alarms on moving averages, like you can right click, put an alert on the 200 moving average, it'll tell you when it comes back to it, something like that. For now, we had a really nice bounce, but it's not enough to reverse the trend yet. So the risk is we still retest the lows and potentially need to do a little bit more. So Yeah, sorry about that. It's not quite. It's. I have to say, against Bitcoin, it does look a little bit more positive. One swing up, pull back. We are still, you know, everything should be at least 3 waves. So we're owed kind of another swing higher from here. So let's see what happens. Above this high. So what would reverse this downtrend? Taking out this high. This is the last swing high, isn't it? And this. Actually, there's a bit of a... Okay. Yeah. I'm going to say above. Let's put... When I'm not sure of the level, I'll use the fib level. I'll say the 236 fib. If we get above that there, that tells me a bit better. Because I keep looking at these lows and thinking, maybe that's the level. 2306 then. If we can close and hold above 2306, should see more upside in Ripple Bitcoin. Good luck. Okay, I'm reading. Okay. Dan says, sounds like somebody is milking a cow. Okay. Sorry about that. Ocean. So ocean, this is the one where that guy stole all the ocean, right? So there's a whale out there that can dump it. That's never good. But you know what? That's pretty much, we could panic about it, but that's pretty much true of all crypto. Like, we better hope that that guy Satoshi's dead, because if he's not and somebody starts selling all those one day, then we're in big trouble. So, now, Ocean Protocol. I'm taking the last 5 wave swing higher here, and I feel like we're in that 61.8, 38.2 golden ratio zone where the market consolidates. I'm not entirely sure that I've got the right levels, but and the reason is that these 236 fibs are a bit iffy. Yeah, I think it's... Yeah. So here we are consolidating. Either way, whether these are the fib levels or not, we've got this bunched up flat moving averages, no trend, sideways range. And until we break out of this range, we're still looking lower. My worry about Ocean is this is a wave 1, 2, 3, and this might be an extended wave 4. I don't kind of like that idea, but clearly if we break these lows, we're headed back to this low and the 200 moving average at 1713. This is a bearish cross of these moving averages. I wouldn't be long Ocean Protocol at this point. I think that this is too tricky, to be honest, and it's very much like this ABC correction is over. ABC. A little bit messy on the 61.8 side, and if we break these lows, for sure it is. So let's go all the way and do all the way from the lows to the highs. Let's see where that puts us. Not help much, is it? I'm going to stick to the rules and say, you know, 200 moving average, I'm afraid, is probably where we're heading. And the fact that we couldn't get back above this 50, this is a little bit bearish. Sorry. Now, well, I would be wrong if we hit these lows, found a huge amount of buyers and a big bullish reversal. That's what I'd be looking for. Now, there's a rule: third touches of trend lines and third touches of levels. The third touch is very often a false breakdown. So don't be surprised if we make a slightly lower low and then sharp rally. Okay? Don't worry, Dan. That's what I'm looking at. I think I need a less noisy mouse pad or something. So Ocean. Yeah, a little bit of a concern. Watch for support at the bottom of the range. ZRX. It's one of my favourite ones. I think this is one of the first. You know, I was a bit slow getting into alts. I was a maximalist for quite a long time. But ZRX was one of my first really good alts. Now, let's look at the monthly chart on this, because let's be clear about where we are and where we are going. Because our first attempt, we put our big picture fib retrace levels on. Our first attempt at this 236 fib level failed, and that puts us still technically in a bit of a downtrend. Not only that, but this has been really a bit of a choppy overlapping struggle. However, if we were going to find support somewhere, what we don't want is this. It doesn't look like an ABC correction. And if we were going to look for support, then back here at this wave 4 and this weekly 50 moving average would be a really good place to do it. So, bouncing from an epic level, just like one of the ones we looked at earlier, we still have to get back above this weekly 50, but all the right behavior anyway. Freddie, yeah, I'm still a maximalist. I don't know. My partner James says Haven is, Haven's going to be it. For now, I tend to agree with you. So here we are bouncing from our epic level. We're back above the 20 moving average. So let's say we'll do that whole fib thing again. I think we're going to close above the 20 here. We're very close anyway. Let's hope we do, because if we don't, we could still see a bit of a setback tomorrow before we carry on higher. But let's see where that 236 fib is, because that's going to be our first upside target, and resistance, that's up here as well. So this is where our first target is. 4,400. 4,430. Happy days. If we can get above there, then we're going up. We're going to go up and retest this 236 fib level again at 62.50, which we could not close above before. And if we can close above it this time, then that's it. Hooray, bullish reversal. So this is our first resistance. This is our second resistance, 62.53. Let's look lower time frame how we're doing. Pretty nice. Okay. I always like to buy pullbacks. So would I buy it? Okay, people watching this, when I say, oh gosh, this looks pretty nice, would I buy it right here now? No, I would not. Do you see this? This is an hourly chart. Okay. These little, I've got high Kanashi candles on. They're like little moving averages on candlesticks. I always like to buy a pullback. I almost never, because I know that if I buy it here, it'll be the high. So if you buy a pullback, especially to like a 20 moving average, or if you put a pullback to these previous highs here, okay, you know then that and then you wait until, you don't just buy it, pull back, but you wait until it then turns green and turns up again. Then you know what you're buying against, and you know where you're wrong and you're not risking loads. If you buy it up here, where you're going to put your stop under this swing low, that's quite big, isn't it? So when I say I like something, that's not necessarily means I'm going to pile in and buy it right there. That's how I tend to look at the market. But this ZRX is making all the right moves to retest these levels. And above 4,460, I think it's got a really good shot at retesting 6,250, and then above there we will have made a bottom. Hooray. Okay, next one we'll look at is Link, because it wouldn't be an update if we didn't look at Link, would it? I don't know. The king of the DeFi coins, Link, isn't it? Now here's a happy little chart. Let's see. So let's start. I've got link tether. We'll look at link Bitcoin in a minute. Here in link tether, so from the all-time low to the all-time high, this pink box that I've drawn is that 61.8, 38.2 consolidation zone. I'm going to take it away so that the chart is a bit clearer. I'm going to take away these retrace levels. And, you know, when you look at a pullback, the previous wave 4, so if we think we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, previous wave 4 is usually a very common place for you to pull back to. And in this case, it was a really extended wave 5. So we've come quite a long way back. And so this 61.8 in this kind of zone is a great place for us to bounce from last week, and the confirmation that we have reversed is being back above this 50%. So when you reverse at a 61.8, you look to get back above the 50%, then your next target is the 38.2, and then so on higher. So looking really good for a reversal in link and holding this support level, now 10.23. And so now we can say, well, as long as we stay above 10.23, we're still going to look higher for this 38.2 level, but we're being held down by this 20 moving average. So nice tight range. We know where we're bullish and we know where we're bearish, don't we? And we're looking for a breakout, which didn't quite happen today. Flat moving averages again, so there really isn't any trend until we break out in this one, which is the story of so many. So that's what I'm looking for. Let's go back above this high. So above 10.53, we're looking for 12.67. And above 12.67, we've got a breakout, and we're going to tackle this 50 moving average and go to the moon. Let's see, not necessarily the moon, but this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking for wave 5. Wave 1 and 5 very often have a relationship. Can't be equal because that won't put us to new highs. But we could get all the way up here to 25. That would be a good look, wouldn't it? Let me do this one more other way. We'll measure it this way. So high. So the 1272 would be 23.6, and then 28. That would be cool. Anyway, step by step. First of all, we have to get out of this downtrending channel that we're in, and we're not out of it yet. That's going to be our first goal. Second goal, so up here, and then if we break out of our channel, up we go. Okay. I will take a look at XMR. XMR's been quite interesting. It's really interesting how Monero outperforms in little pullbacks as well, isn't it? So that's link. Now we're going to look at DREP, which is not one I have looked at before. Okay. See these funny looking candles? This is because they're really low digits. So the moves, this is a daily chart, right? So the moves are very, that look very strange. When I get a chart like this, I very often, you know, this is why the candles look so strange. So I very often prefer to look at it against the US dollar because of that. So here we are in DREP. Quite new. We're just going to measure and see, because I feel like we did an A, B, C down, and then we went A, B, C up. Okay, so this was our first swing, second swing. So this was an irregular up. Okay, and this was 61.8 of this. And so now we've, in fact, now I've got it wrong here. Now I'm looking to see if this is finished and turning up again. And it looks like it is. So let's start. And we'll do the fibs on this big kind of out containing swing. And see how we are respecting them. Answer is pretty nicely. And then we'll take a look at this. Same thing, 34. So 34 is the next resistance. And then 50 and then so on. Whenever you have what you think is an ABC correction, ABC move, your first target is usually the 786. So I would say we need to take out this previous high to be going up again. And if we do, my next outside target would be 49. And then above 49, we'd be looking for new highs at 67 and 80. So yeah, lovely bunched up moving averages. It's usually the sign of a big move. Let's see if we can do it. So 34 though is the level to beat to close above for our breakout. Let's look at that DREP. Nice, potentially nice, really nice setup, isn't it? If we look lower time frame, this is a pole and a little flag, and so we're looking for a breakout. So DREP US dollar or tether looks a little bit better because it's tether. So again, we're looking for this to be an ABC correction that's finished. I think it is. In fact, there's an even bigger one there. Yes, we're at 61.8, but let's equal measured moves. So whichever way you look at it, this looks like we've correction complete. This down here, we've got a lovely double bottom at the 200 moving average. It is a proper double bottom. We retested it. So if traditional technical analysis, if you break the highs in the middle of a double bottom, you should go twice that distance. So that means from here to here, from our breakout point. So that's our first target up here. If we get above these highs at 4,100, we're looking for sort of 5,900. Another way to look for our target would say this is our first swing higher. So this, yeah, we'll go from here. No, let's just, 61.8 means retesting the highs, and then a big equal measure move puts us all the way up here. That would be crazy. That would be great, in fact, if we did that. So fibs, low to high. Yeah, that's the first one. See how that double bottom target lines up with this 1272? That would be my first target then, 5873. 5873. And that was also at the 61.8, wasn't it? So, good look, really good look in this one. RLC, haven't looked at RLC for a bit. Daniel says rep came out very poor. Okay. Orga. Right. Where's rep? RLC. That's weird. Here it is. Right, let's start with the weekly chart, see where we are. I thought this was a really kind of cool, funky inverted head and shoulders pattern. Bit of a sloping shoulder. Didn't quite get to my target. Really frustrating, actually. But very nice, impulsive moves, I think. A really good sign that's of an impulsive move is when your third swing is 1.618 or 2.618 of the first swing. But we've come back underneath this high, so that kind of negates that. Now we're just looking for basically an ABC correction to see if we can carry on higher again. So here on the daily, let's measure, because at this 200 moving average would be a really good place. The problem is it doesn't quite line up. That doesn't matter, because, as far as I'm concerned, the 200 moving average is the king of the chart. So if this is a wedge, then, and we rally from here, and the 200 moving average, look, third touch, slightly false breakout, that's okay. So at the moment, all we've done is stop going down here. We're just going sideways. It's not quite enough, is it, to get us off starting up again. Damn. It's starting to feel like this is going to test this 786 here, because the 61.8 rally, if we made a equal measured move down to this 786 fib level, we would have a perfect textbook bullish Gartley. So, and that would be a really good look here. So then that would be like this, maybe a little bit overshoot. So there's our reversal box. So I'm going to say that I think, although we are hovering around above this 200 moving average, a very bullish pattern would happen if we could get down to 6,900 around here. So I'm not feeling that quite bullish yet. Let's have a look at the 4-hour. Yeah. So somewhere in the box between 6,000 sort of 150 to 6,000 to 7,000, if we could make a double bottom or some kind of bullish reversal pattern in that box, that's what I would be looking for in RLC. I would be wrong from here. So if I put this swing on, I'd be wrong if we got back above the 236 fib, and that would mean, gosh, it all lines up here, 10,992. So if we get a counter trend bounce, which we could have, then that would be your target, 10,990. Maybe we could look at it a bit before then. Yeah, I don't really rely on it. So otherwise, I think a little bit lower to go before RLC can make a bottom. And that would be a bullish Gartley pattern as well. Let's take a quick look at it against the... Oh, you can't trade it against the dollar. I'm always a bit reluctant to look at charts where, it's not trading against the dollar, because the levels don't tend to work as well. Okay, thanks for the request, Daleks. That's brilliant. Okay, let's look at uni. Huge amounts of interest in uni. We looked at it this morning. Where have you gone, uni? Here we go. So this is quite a new coin, obviously, and we have got it here on an hourly chart. I have got my fibs from this consolidation of the first bounce, mainly because the levels have been working really well. So you can see 38.2, 50%, 61.8, 78.6, and they all worked when we back tested them. And this 50% here in the middle, it's been a bit of a pivot. Now, so if I've done this right, we've rallied from a 61.8. This is our first leg lower, and we should see a second swing lower that gets us at least back up to 6.21. So in a second swing, but if not, the 23.6. So let's see. The question is here in this correction, because this has been ABC, where is this ABC going to finish? So you see how we went ABC up, equal measured move? That was the first sign that this was all a big correction. But when coins first launch, and until they kind of get going and you have a bit more chart history, you tend to see a lot of these ABC patterns. So here, we'll look on the downside, we've just almost, have we reached it? maybe I haven't drawn it quite right, almost reached the equal measured move level where we would expect it to rally from down here. So it might retest it because it looks like we haven't quite. And now I'm expecting another leg up. And this time, so 4.33, and this time, we'll measure from here to here. I'll line it up properly, don't worry. There we go. So it lines up perfectly. So expect a bit of trouble when we retest the highs and this 50% pivot level. That would be normal, but our upside target is going to be 6.21. And that then would be a ABC bearish correction. Okay, if we extend, or if we're going to break the bearish symmetry, and this is going to be a more impulsive move, a bit like this, then we would need to continue and close above 6.2187. But that, from where we are now, this should be today a pretty good level to bounce from, and 6.2187 is where I'm looking for. Just remember that when we get there, that might be it for the rally. If we go beyond it, happy days. Okay. Just because they tend to just consolidate, you know, now let's look at this bigger swing, because maybe there's points to, yeah, let's see, 6.2187 will be the level to beat above it, and we should see, okay, gonna have a quick look at YFII, YFII, or whatever you call it. So this is YFII tether at Binance. Let's take a quick peek at our daily chart, because on our daily chart we got knocked back at a pretty dire place, really. We got knocked back at this 236 fib daily 20 newly minted daily 20 moving average. So if this was just a knockback, we would be looking for 50% correction, 50% pullback, find support, and then carry on again. So let's go down a time frame, look at our 4-hour, see if we've done that kind of 50% thing. Went beyond it, actually 61.8. Now the rules come in. So when you reverse at a 61.8, that 50% in the middle becomes like a little pivot level. That's your bull bear line. So that's what you've got to get above if you're going to go higher. So in YFII tether, we need to get above 34.55, and that will be us on the way up again. Then we would look for 3,600, and then above there, new upswing. If we can't, if we get stuck at this 50, then if we come back and we retest 61.8 and we can't hold it, the next leg down would be 3,091 in YFII tether to this 786 fib level, because each one of these fib levels seem to be important. If you're looking at against Bitcoin, again, by putting my fibs all the way from this big low to high, this 886 that we've got underneath, which was support, is now resistance. So you can see support, support. We've been underneath it before. It wasn't the end of the world, but that's what we've got to get back above if we're going up again. So above, in YFII Bitcoin, above 0.31887 would be a bullish reversal. Otherwise, again, I think we've got further to fall in this one. Let's look at this most recent swing. Yeah, 0.299 in YFII Bitcoin. YFII Bitcoin, number 2. All right, then, let's do some more requests, some more exciting requests. So, yeah, buy if it breaks out. Otherwise, watch out for one more little swing lower. So, let's look at fact. Hello, Andrew Bayliss. This one's for you. Hello. Ooh, lovely bounce from a lovely bounce from a 786 fib level and the 200 moving average. And what was really cool about this is this lovely bounce from the 50% first, 61.8 first. Then now we're at the 786 fib. So we've got a couple of resistances. First off, this 20 moving average, and then this 61.8. If we can close above 704 in fetch Bitcoin, the 61.8, that's our reversal. That's the downtrend over. Up until now, otherwise, it's looking like just a bounce. Unfortunately, it just means a bounce and a downtrend. Very often these corrective bounces are equal in height, so not quite equal there. We've got a bit more room. But these 20, the problem with these 20 moving averages, that the first time back to them, you very often get quite a nasty knockback. And if this is going to be a real bottom, a decent, you know, proper bottom that holds, like for example here, it's very common in crypto for these levels to be retested. I can't stress it enough, and it doesn't mean that the world is ending. In fact, it would be more bullish if we could see a nice double bottom and retested in fetch. So if you're already in it, obviously that's the last thing you want to happen, because it'll test your nerve. You'll probably puke and give up on it at the lows, and then it'll turn around and take off and fly without you. So if that happens, the best way to trade this, honestly, is to get out and let it retest the lows and watch it. And if it does that, buy it as well. You know, if you're flat, then you're much easier to be objective, isn't it, about what's going on. Here on the hourly, you can see that we've reached pretty important support and resistance level. Look at these highs here at a tough level we're almost at. And this could be where we see a little bit of a setback. If we measure the swings, we're going to take this first swing, project it from the correction, and this level would also be where our ABC correction is. So if we fail here at 642, that would be bearish. If we get a reversal here that comes below 592, that would be your bearish reversal setting up a retest of the lows. So, and you can see, if we don't though, we could make a pretty nice head and shoulders pattern here, couldn't we? That would be a bullish pattern. All right, so major resistance at 642, and get out, sell it if we close below 592, because we probably will retest the lows. Okay, those are the parameters I've got for fetch. Otherwise, I really like it. It's having a go, isn't it? It's just that, you know, it's just a bounce and an uptrend until we break out of this sideways range. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Bearish below here, watch for a retest of the low, and bullish above here. Then, if once we get going, let's look for targets. If we break to the upside, well, we know this 61.8 level is what we've got to use to confirm the trend. So 704 is going to be first resistance, and if we get above 704 and you've reversed to the 786 fib, your target is 1028, because that's where you go if you reverse at a 786 fib. So obviously we'll have some wobble levels in the middle, this 50% level not least, this daily 50 moving average, but that would be my trade target for fetch. Got a bit of work to do first to get there though. In fetch Bitcoin. Next one is lend. Let's take a look at lend. Sky Han, I'll try and fit you in. I've got it on my list, don't worry. Okay. Okay. Have I got lend here? Yeah, there's lend. Ooh, messy chart. Oh, this is a bit tricky. Don't like tricky. clearly in lend Bitcoin, we've got this huge uptrend. There's no question that this isn't a massive uptrend. I don't believe this is a massive ABC correction, but it might be. No, I don't think it is. But what we're looking for is an ABC pullback before we turn up higher again. At the moment, we've bounced from these previous lows, and that's a really good place. But this is a little bit lower. 50% of the entire rally and the equal measured move is lower here at 38.45. So the key question is, are we going up again? I would say no. It looked a bit like we had. Normally I wouldn't want to see it back above this 61.8 level, but this bearish cross of these moving averages and this back underneath this level points to lower, and that would be the target. Only if we can close above these moving averages have we reversed it, really, and then this high would be it. So it's kind of tricky here. So I have to say, I think this could go either way. I really think it could go either way. When I look at this looks like just a little ABC correction, and we're going to carry on higher, and we've recovered this 61.8 level, doesn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. I would say, you know, if you're holding a pile of lend, then just keep moving your stop up. You know, under here, let's see if this leg breaks higher. Then let's get to these highs and this 200 moving average on the 4 hour. These highs would be, then we've got, look, when we get here, even if you hide these moving averages, we've got, you know, pretty nice bottoming pattern, and above these highs, we've reversed the downtrend. But if we don't, if we get stuck here, and we can't make a new high, and we roll lower, this is the level, 50% back, 3948. Between 38 and 39 is where we should finally make a bottom. So yeah, so many of these charts are. So let's take that away. Wait. Damn. It really, this is the one, the whole thing, you know, it could go either way. If you put a gun to my head right now, I would say that the support level is being front run, and I'd probably want to be long. But I'm not ruling out that we couldn't get into trouble and still see one more swing lower. So if you're long already, keep moving your stop up. Hello, thinly spread. You'll be annoying and submit a Tezos request. Let's hope not. It's not going that low. I'll have a look at it for you. So sand, let's see sand. I think I had a sand chart here. Okay, here's our daily chart of sand. This is like a, normally I would say bullish pennant, but it's gone on too long sideways for it to be, you know, bullish. So a bull flag is when you have a rectangle on its side and it goes up again. So there's your rectangle. And a bullish pennant is when you have a triangle. So you have a flag and then you make a triangle and up you go. So there's your pennant. In this case, this has gone on too long. So it's not either one of those. It's just now a really annoying sideways range. And so you buy the bottoms and you sell the tops and you wait for a breakout, I think. So that's my view here. So the problem is we've had a little bit of a knockback. Why is this happening? So we should be done with that now. $618, 23. Next should be on our way for the next leg up. Let's see what this swing says. So we've got very flat moving averages here, which points to no trend. And at the moment, being underneath them and holding underneath them on the 4 hourly, on the hourly, points to a retest of the lows unless we can start turning things around. This hourly 200 moving average is the 4 hour 50 moving average. That's what we have to get above to turn it around. I think we've got a very nice, we're making 5 waves here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. The problem is that this middle one subdivides to 5, and so this could just be 4 of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and still need one more lower. So the only way you're going to know that it's actually going up and it doesn't need one more push lower, I think, is to say this 50 moving average. So forget fib levels and whatever. Hourly 200 moving average. And I would say wait and see, because this could just as easily, we haven't reversed the trend, this could just as easily do one more push lower before we bottom in sand. So I like buying near the bottom of the wedge, but this first swing we haven't quite done it, have we? So yeah, like the big turn up again. If I was watching this on the hourly, I'm wrong. If we can get above this hourly 200 moving average, we're going back again. Otherwise, I'm going to say I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need one more swing lower in sand. Shouldn't make a new low, shouldn't drop out of the wedge, but let's see. Wait for a really good bullish buy signal off the bottom. And look at, this is another coin where it makes bases. It makes quite a deep retrace, doesn't it? Look, double, not quite a double bottom, but a very, here, look, retest the lows. So, and a deep retest. So, double bottom here. So, the first bounce, you don't have to buy. Wait and wait for the retest, okay? Patience then, I think, and a little bit of patience for sand probably. I mean, I like it, like that shape, but okay, I'm pretty sure we looked at link earlier. So you have to rewind because we did link. We're going to look at ICX now. If I had a brain fart and I didn't look at link, somebody tell me. I'm pretty sure I did though. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. I remember. Icon then. ICX. Let's start with the daily chart. I'm going to look at ICX against Bitcoin. So I've got my fibs on this most recent swing lower so that they're not silly and that they're relevant. And if we look at this, you can see that we did that 61.8 thing. And normally you would expect to come back to the 38.2. We went beyond it. And if you go beyond it, it's the 236 fib. So we've got a little bit lower till we get to that fib level. If I draw a trend line, you can see that we're not quite there yet either. We are, though, sitting on the 200 moving average. But you can see before we did this dip underneath it, found support, and then carried on. And I'm expecting that that's probably what we're going to see here. However, if I'm wrong, we're not going to come down here, and we're going to turn around and rally from here. Then what would we need to see for that to be the case? Well, let's see. Let's take them away. So at the moment, from this most recent swing lower, we haven't been able to close above this 236 fib level, 39.54. The close here on the green day, 39.54 probably was on it. It looked like, yeah, 39.59. So that's what we need to close and hold above if we're gonna go higher. So look for 39.54 and a hold and close and hold above it, and then we should maybe bounce, you know, to the 20 moving average and so on, and that would be the start of a reversal. Then the next level I would look for would be the big 236 fib, which is at 43.80. So 39.54 and then 43.80. Above 43.80 would confirm it. At the moment, this is just trying to build a base and find its feet, and there is a little risk that they might freak everybody out with one more push lower in this one. So above 39.54 kind of takes that risk away a bit. Not completely. We're still in a downtrend. You know what we could do? We could still do A, B, C, get stuck at this 20 moving average and do one more. I don't think we will, because it would be out of proportion to this here, but I think that's very unlikely, but you know, you never know. Okay. Thanks, Nikita. You're very welcome. Okay. So 39.54, that's what I'd be watching in ICX Bitcoin. I'm going to take a quick peek, because I think ICX is traded against the dollar as well, isn't it? Tether at Binance, yeah, everything is. So here against Tether, that previous high. Let's tidy this up. Now, we could very easily bounce from here because this is a fib level, even though we haven't quite tagged the 200 moving average. Is the opposite here in ICX Tether. It's at 61.8 level. We'll have our bullish reversal. When you reverse it to 61.8, if you have to get above the 50%. So 45.33 would confirm a bullish reversal. Otherwise, there's a likelihood that we retest the lows and do one of those false, you know, slightly lower low, tag that 200 moving average, and then that would be really bullish if we got a good reaction from there. So I would almost prefer to see that. That would be more bullish for me, especially when we look at this, you know, kind of level a little bit lower. So one of two things then would make you want to buy ICX Tether. A tag down here around 3,000.36 or a close above 0.4533. In between, it's all a little bit not quite sure. And I may be drawing this slightly wrong. I don't think so though. Okay. But just in case. So what we're waiting for, yeah. God, they're all the same, aren't they? Moving averages the wrong way round and all at risk of a retest of the lows. Makes me very nervous. Okay. James Hutchings, hello, we'll look at Knowles. Let's see Knowles. And then we'll look at Monero. Okay. Good effort today by Knowles, wasn't it? Very good effort. One of the reasons that I think that this one has potential is because we're back above this 20 moving average. We've done this before in Knowles though, and it hasn't worked. So we need to be aware of that, because what happens tomorrow will tell us whether we maybe got a bullish reversal or not. First off, we need to see a small inside pull day or a pullback that doesn't close below the 20 moving average, and so that 20 moving average, 26.92, 26.93, that's close enough. So that's when we look for this pullback. This is where we're looking for support to be and for us to turn higher. If we have a daily close back below 26.92, that because we're still in a downtrend, because these moving averages are so like that, then we're going to have a retest of the lows, unfortunately. And potentially, you know, we could come back and retest this double bottom level. So nulls needs to hold above 26.92 on this pullback, and then we are looking for another swing higher. Our next upside level is going to be here, where the 200 moving averages, and take that away because that's old news, and we'll put fib levels on. There we go, that's our 236 fib. So 26.92, if it holds, we're looking for 35.41 next. And then above the 236 fib and the 200 moving average, that's our reversal. We're going up in nulls. And so above 35.41, our next upside target is 7,000, which is double your money. So looking good, but we need to hold support now. So that's nulls Bitcoin. Let's look at nulls Tether, which is what you asked me for, and I was being a numpty. Okay, let's look at the weekly. Look at this perfect ABC pullback in nulls. So we've done this textbook equal measured move. And now, remember, when you're in a downtrend, you have lower lows and lower highs. So if we're going to go into an uptrend on the daily, we have to take out these highs. That's where we're at, and the 200 moving average. And let's see where that nasty 236 fib is as well from here. A little bit higher, 34.61. So bullish reversal above 34.61. And where is our support that we need to hold if we're going to keep going higher? This daily 20 moving average here, 28.93. There it is. I don't think I drew it right. 28.93. Yes, I did. And the hourly 20 moving average. So on this pullback, that's where we're looking for support. We shouldn't close below that. We should not close below 28.93. Pullback, and so next swing up. First, above 34.61, we're bullish. Then we're looking for 41.76. And then I think we're out of this channel when we get above that level. Here's our channel, or declining wedge, if you like. Now, sometimes I do this. So instead of, I line up the lows and then put it from here and then from the highs, and then that becomes kind of a better target. But yeah, hasn't quite reversed the trend, but a really good day today for nulls Tether. Above 34.61. Boom. Hello. Okay, let's look at Monero and then Tezos before we finish. So first off, Monero. I've got Monero, Euro, we want Monero. Let's look at Monero against the dollar first of all. And let's Monero against Tether. I'm going to go to a weekly chart. Okay, so my concern is in Monero that we've got on the weekly here, that we've got lovely 5 waves up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that terminated at a 786 fib. And when you do that, normally you would expect to come back to the 38.2 all the way back here. The problem is we've done one swing and we didn't get to our level, so it makes me a little bit nervous that this is this and then this and then, and not only that, but if we stopped where we are now in Monero, would it kind of line up? No. So anyway, sometimes these patterns don't work. That's fine. But unless we get above this 786 fib level, I'm going to lean that way. So let's look at the daily. Really doesn't tell us anything except we've got resistance coming up, and it didn't quite line up that well, did it? So let's clean up a little bit and try the other way. You just want to know, is this the new uptrend beginning or not? You know, it really very often is down to how it unfolds. You know, this is clearly ABC in corrective, but this now, if we've done 1, 2, this should be a really, really strong wave 3 that blasts through this 100 level and this 786 fib. And if we see that, then we will. But I have to say that I'm just a bit more concerned that this is ABC for an A leg, and then we're going to go ABC for a B leg. And we've got one more, catch the 200 moving average up like we did here, and then we're off again. So is this a great, so if you're long of Monero, well done, looks really good. If you're looking for a place to buy Monero, this really isn't it. Not yet. Now, I would, if we get above 100 and then find support from that level, that's a good place to buy it. If we do another swing lower, this would be a great place to buy it. But in between here, really close to resistance, this is not a good place for a new position in Monero. We need to kind of wait and see. So if you've got some, hang on. Looks great. Okay. Hello, Amine. We'll mention Haven because I've got some Haven. Myself. I think I was going to do Tezos and finish, wasn't I? XTZ, hold on. Tezos, yay. Okay. So this is Tezos Tether, and I will look at Tezos Bitcoin in a minute. First off, Tezos Tether. So we've lost all of our moving averages in Tezos, which puts us in a little bit of a downtrend. So we really need to do something quite spectacular to reverse this downtrend. I'm using the fibs from just this most recent swing, and the reason is that they've really worked. If we look, this 236 fib was resistance, 38.2 support, 50% was resistance here, 61.8, and so we can see with these previous lows as well that this 61.8 level is what we've got to get back above, and the 20 moving average if this was just a false breakdown. Otherwise, if we don't and we turn lower from here and we don't get back above, we've got another leg down to come in Tezos to 1.7. So we're at that key level. Now if I've drawn it wrong here, which I might have done, we would be back above it already, but these levels don't work, so I'm gonna stick with what works and say this is major bull bear resistance in Tezos. And what are we going to do here? Now it looks like we've squeaked above it today, doesn't it? So if we hold on here, that would be pretty nice, bullish. We've recovered it. If we don't and we drop back and we close the day under this level, 2.3 level, Tezos is at risk of a swing lower. Now let's measure. So again, we're looking at that. Make sure I've got all the low lows. Below this 2.36, so it's below 2.258. We should look for at least 50% back in this hourly 200 moving average, which would be 2.13, and then potentially below 2.13 we're a bit bearish. Okay, those are the two support levels. So Tezos otherwise, if we can hold on here, it's got a good shot. It's got a bit more to do. If we hold on here, our next upside target is at 2.72. So that's Tezos dollar. Let's look at Tezos against Bitcoin. So we just did this, didn't we? There's our 61.8 level. Otherwise we're going lower. Okay. We're gonna have a quick look at Kyber Network, and then we're gonna do Haven, and then I've finished. Okay. Wabi, that funny little coin. Jay Agus, I can see you asking me for Wabi. Hold on. I'm just trying to remind myself what's going on in Wabi. It's a big fat nothing, isn't it? I'll try and do it. Let's see. It's a good level in Wabi to bounce from. You know, in Wabi here, when your moving averages are completely flat and like this, it's a sideways range and you're looking for a breakout. So you buy the bottom of the range, you sell the top of the range, and you wait for it to break out. So Wabi is bouncing from the bottom of the range clearly and looking pretty good. 1,218 is where it's got tough resistance. And then if it gets above that, we'll go back up to at least these kind of highs and potentially a little bit higher. What I like about Wabi most of all is the look of this. This looks like an ABC correction finished, and this looks like an ABC up. So it looks like ABC, ABC, ABC. So we've done 1, 2, 3, a regular correction finished. Okay, so looking good, I think, in Wabi. I really do like this. And if I measure this swing, high to low, not quite there, but so in that case we can say above 1,117 will, and that's the daily 20, will be our bullish reversal that we want to see. If we don't, it might need a little bit lower, but yeah, not quite clear then that the correction is over. We're underneath all of the moving averages, so that's what I'm looking at Wabi. In Kyber Network, KNC, where's that one? KNC, there we go. Here we go. Haha, I think Kyber Network's got a little bit, unfortunately, further to fall. You know, when you make, even when you make an ABC correction, very often the fifth wave unfolds into 5. This is a weekly chart. And when I look at this daily, I think we've got one more leg lower. Between 7,000 and 7,800. So not quite there yet for Kyber Network. It's a bit like Wabi. There's a risk that we see one more swing lower in this one. And only if we get back above 11,600 am I going to be bullish. I think that, yeah, it owes us one more swing. So if something dramatic happens and we take off, then above 11,700, just buy it anyway. But for now, I think one more swing lower in Kyber Network. So I'll speak again next week. Let's see if we can do that level and we get there. So let's take a quick peek at Haven to finish. Haven, here we go. Okay, this is an hourly chart. Let's go to 4 hour, actually, regular candles. Now, in Haven, I'm just going to hide the fibs for a minute. in Haven, this would look like a nice ABC correction. It wasn't. If we measure it from here to here to here, it overshot it a little bit, but that happens, and so it looked like, oh, this is a pretty good correction. Now, I've talked before about how corrections unfold, right? So sometimes, so you have a big uptrend and you're looking for an ABC correction. A regular one is like that, and you carry on. Sometimes you do this, and you have A, B, and the B leg goes beyond, and you carry on. Sometimes you do this, but why? And it's they call it a three drives pattern. Why would that be? And that's because our ABC gets funky. So here's our A leg, and then this is our B leg, irregular, and then this is our C leg. And I had a feeling, unless we can break out of our flag pattern, that that's what we're looking at. So we made A, and then this was A of B, B, and now we still do C. Say hi to the 200 moving average, say hi to the 50% retrace here, and off we go. So, but if we don't, you know, we seem to have a bullish flag within a bullish flag. So here's our flagpole and our bullish flag. If we break out to the upside, obviously we're on our way. That's a big fat buy. And believe me, I'll buy in. I'm really annoyed though, because I had orders here at 16. I think I had orders at 16,400, 16,300, and 16,200 layered down, and I didn't quite get filled. I got like the tiniest amount here, which was really annoying. And so, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm trying to buy some as well. And if I have to chase it and, you know, fill up at 22, that'll be a little bit annoying. So this was the 50% level that I was talking about. Here's our, you know, this is where I thought we would come back to, and the level just got front run. It happens. And so here within this, we may also, you know, have another smaller flag. So yeah, if it breaks out, I'm going to be chasing it with everyone else. If not, like the way it's behaving, I thought, well, we'll just do a lower high and we'll do one more swing low, and we haven't done that either. So it's very frustrating. This is what I was expecting, and it hasn't happened. I better put a big fat alert on here. The last thing I want to do is miss this tomorrow. I might put a buy stop order in as well. So that, I'm afraid, is Haven. Freddie says you sold. You were never bullish on privacy coins. Right. You know, I think Haven is a really clever idea. I really do. But there's no copyright in this stuff. Somebody else could do it, you know. If, you know, I'd much prefer to look at it. Do I like the chart? If I go to the weekly, let's take a look at whether we like the chart or not. And have a look. Yeah, I love this chart. So I feel like this is just a big this was just a big first swing to the 38.2 fib. And when you have a 38.2, when you have a first swing to 50% or less, then your second swing should go to at least 1.618 of the correction. So that was at least to here. If we go to 1.618, if we go to 2.618, we go all the way up here. So I better take that away. To an 886, we would get a classic bat pattern, which is a harmonic pattern. So when people say, what's your target for Haven? My first target is 43,000, but my favorite target is 65,000 if we can make a new high here above 30,000. So that's what I'm looking for. I'll take that away. So yeah, okay, mega long stream. See everyone next week. Hope you found that useful. if you would like, here we know when we're talking about the charts and what my view is and where we're going to go next. And I'm just really saying levels. If you would like to learn how to trade around these levels, you're welcome to join my group. Okay, if you don't like it or you haven't got time for it, you get your money back.